Hello, I'm Dr. Courtney Meyers, and I'd like to take a few minutes just to introduce myself. First, I come from a tiny town in eastern Kansas, right here. It's called Fulton. It had 136 people in the last census, so a very small town. From that very small town, I went to Kansas State University. I had participated in FFA during high school and had made many trips to Manhattan over my 4 years, so it felt natural to go there. At Kansas State, I majored in agricultural communications and journalism with a minor in animal science, and I worked for the International Grains Program as their communications coordinator. And it was a fascinating job to meet people from all over the world who came to learn about grain science, flour milling, feed manufacturing, and other topics. And through that, I really gained a better appreciation for international agriculture and pursued that through a couple other opportunities I had to study abroad. From Kansas, I went to the University of Arkansas to get my master's degree. It was in agricultural and extension education with an emphasis in agricultural communications. In between my first and second year in Fayetteville at the University of Arkansas, I moved to Edinburgh, Scotland, and worked for what was then called the Scottish Agricultural College in their marketing and communications unit. And it was amazing to get to live in another country, to learn to ride the bus and to navigate life without a car and so many other things. After the move to the University of Arkansas, I then went to the University of Florida to work on my PhD. And I had many great adventures while I was in Florida. Probably the biggest was giving birth to my first child. My husband, who I had met at Kansas State University, and I had Isabel in Gainesville, Florida. And 10 years later, we went back and took her and tried to recreate this photo in front of Albert and Alberta. After Florida, we moved to Lubbock, here at Texas Tech University, where we have been since 2008. I was hired as an assistant professor and have successfully worked through the ranks and became a full professor in 2019. I've been serving as the graduate studies coordinator in the department since 2017, and I love a lot of things about working at Texas Tech. I do want to highlight some of the classes I teach. Teaching is one of my favorite pursuits, my biggest passions, the reason I'm a professor. At the undergraduate level, I teach 3 classes: Communicating Agriculture to the Public, or what many people lovingly refer to as CAP. I teach web design at the introductory level, and then we have a convergence or advanced web design course in the block as a part of the block program for ACOM. At the graduate level, I created a course called Utilizing Online Media in Agricultural Communications that I'll occasionally teach when we need someone to teach that course. My true passion, as I mentioned, is teaching. And my vision for teaching, my philosophy for teaching, is to ensure that all students who major in agricultural communications receive that education that's based on research of best practices, of the latest information, of what the industry needs. That's that second point, that we're teaching things that the industry has actually recognized as these are the things, the skills, the knowledge bases that our students, our future employees need to have. And this is all grounded in research, because a big part of my role is to research. And so I try to pursue that in ways that will benefit my teaching and your education. I want to do all of this because I want to prepare students for those future jobs. And a very wise man, former President Franklin D. Roosevelt, said that we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. And that's what I strive to do through the classes I teach. I also conduct quite a bit of research. I have 3 buckets that I like to think about my research agenda. One is in message development about agricultural science topics. So how can we effectively create messages about agricultural science and communicate that appropriately to the audience? Also recognizing audiences in the second area. What are the perceptions of agricultural topics and behaviors? How do people react to the information when we're asking them to think more critically about a topic or a certain production practice? And then finally, because so much of my role is based on teaching, I want to make sure that I'm communicating and conveying the best information using the best techniques. So I conduct scholarship of teaching and learning to ensure that my classroom is innovative and effective in terms of what you're learning. What I love about Texas Tech comes back to that teaching perspective, and that is the students. I love how hardworking, how dedicated, how fun all of our students are. This is a picture from our large block in 2019. We had the masked rider in the class, and we got to take this wonderful group photo. And it's getting to work with students that really makes me love my job. I've also raised my family to be Texas Tech fans. Every year we get a family photo in front of the wrapped Will Rogers statue. And my girls have loved going to sporting events. Isabel is my older daughter, and she's an active dancer. And my younger daughter also dances, but more just because she loves to have fun. We were at a game recently, and Isabel got to dance, and Amelia was kid of the game and was a little annoyed at first that someone had signed the basketball they gave her. She quickly realized it was a pretty cool basketball. My husband Daniel and I have been married since 2005, and we love to take our girls on adventures such as Disney cruises. We have a dog named Raider, so we are that Texas Tech family. And we really enjoy dressing up, or at least I enjoy dressing us up as a family for Halloween. So this is one of our more recent Halloween costumes when we were the Sanderson sisters, and my husband played along as best he could. Fun thing about me, I love to travel, and I love to travel with my twin sister, who is also a professor. She is in agricultural education at Kansas State University. And this is a couple pictures of us when we went to Peru for a conference and made a side trip, added on a few days to go to Machu Picchu and also to Cusco and Aliante Tambo and some other fascinating places in the Inca Valley area of Peru. I mentioned I love to travel. I've ticked one off the bucket list. I got to go to Australia to actually research agricultural communications efforts in the country, hold a koala, and this is a look of fear. Learn to drive on the other side of the road. And sometimes it's all about changing our perspective and stepping out of our comfort zone when we really get to grow and experience life. I'd love to get to visit with you. If you want to meet with me, we can do it over email. We can set up a phone call, Zoom. My office is in the Ag Ed building, room 109. And I hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about me. And someday I hope to learn a little bit more about you.